A few letters and essays. Write a letter to your uncle telling him about a fire that had destroyed a nearby building. Also mention in the letter how the members of the building in which you live had helped the victims. 81 by 1 Chittaranjan Avenue, Durgawadi Road, Kolkata 700064. 21st May 2020. Dear Uncle. 2025. Dear Uncle, last Saturday I was helping my mother with her household work after dinner when all of a sudden we heard a loud sound. I ran out of the house and saw that one of our neighbors' houses was on fire. Everybody feared that a big fire would spread to the whole neighborhood. Some people from my building brought buckets of water while others poured the water on the fire. Many people threw sand and dust over the fire. However, the fire kept on spreading through the house. Some of the members of the house took the risk of rushing out through the flames and they got minor burn injuries. Someone from my building called for the fire brigade. The house was completely covered in flames. The fire brigade got there in no time and the firemen immediately had laid down hose pipes for spraying water on the flames. They fought the flames bravely and after a lot of effort the fire was put out. The fire had caused great damage to the house, but thankfully there was no loss of life. The rescued members of the house were rushed to the nearby hospital. No one could see how the destructive fire had started. Some residents of my building offered the victims to stay with them till they could arrange a place for themselves. They also provided them with other necessities for a few days. The entire incident had taught me that standing by each other's side in times of need can help us overcome any difficulty in life. As human beings, it is our duty to stand by each other in times of need. Yours lovingly, Anjali. Next, summers are becoming hotter with each passing year. Write a description of one such very hot day. ICC 2019. How are birds and animals affected? A hot day in summer is usually sultry and scorching. Summers are getting hotter with each passing year. The effect of the climate change is being felt all around. In spite of having so many facilities to fight against the scorching heat during summer, the heat continues to torment the people. This year, the 6th of June was regarded as the hottest day of the year. The atmosphere was thick and stuffy. The sun was burning brightly, and the earth seemed to be dry and parched. From the early morning, the wind was silent and motionless. The trees and plants were stationary. The birds and beasts were all gasping for breath. The blistering heat of the sun was unbearable, and everybody felt lethargic. In the morning, the golden disk of the sun was seen in the eastern horizon. That while as the day advanced, the mercury was at its peak. Temperature kept rising. The oppressive heat made the farmers stop plowing their fields. I dread heat and cold equally. I felt at ease whenever I sipped the lemonades and juice. Heat was unbearable even during the early hours of the day. As the mercury was ascending, it was becoming more suffocating. Even the blooming morning flowers soon lost their charm. The plants began to feel the serenity of the day. In the severity of the day, the plants began to feel the severity of the day. The twirling scene was very beautiful. The calm and serene atmosphere, the bracing, refreshing evening breeze was giving a soothing effect. The blazing sun made people tired and they perspired profusely. Even an umbrella could not provide respite. The streets and markets has a deserted look. Even the animals hid themselves in the shade or to avoid heat. There was no commotion in the streets. The buffaloes were neck deep, sunk in ponds and streams. Then it was noon. The sun was right above head. The ball of fire was showering heat. The bazaars were not humming with any activity. The air proved stifling. Everything wore a cloak of sickness. In the evening, there was little respite from heat. Wheelie, wheelie. Acha. I had to go out. I carried an umbrella to protect myself from sunstroke. It took half an hour to complete my errand. I became restless and feverish. The street dogs were rolling in the slushy pond nearby. The grass and the tender leaves of tiny plants were all parched. Even the shade of the trees were respiteless. I still remember the sultry hot day. The electricity tripped. All the living creatures were gasping for breath. A parched crow was sitting on the terrace of my attic room. I gave him a little water to drink. The twilight scene was most appealing. The calm and serene atmosphere, the cool and bracing climate, and the refreshing breeze soothed our spirits. Next story begin. The day started off well enough. Whoever thought it would complete the story ICC 2016. It would turn everything topsy turvy. Our school's peon came to the class running and informed that there had been a landslide. Jagged rocks hang ominously on mountain slides as workers still dig through the rubble beneath. Jagged rocks hang ominously on mountain sides as workers still dig through the rubble beneath. Rains could trigger another landslide anytime, anywhere on the twisting Pakhabadi Road, a nerve tingling shortcut to Darjeeling. The road winding through the picturesque Longview and Makalibadi tea estates lies lay battered bearing the scars left by the devastating landslides a fortnight ago. Clouds rain could trigger another landslide anytime, anywhere on the twisting Pakhavadi Road, a nerve tingling shortcut to Darjeeling. The road winding through the picturesque Longview and Makaibadi tea estate lay battered, bearing the scars left by the devastating landslides a fortnight ago. The tea estate lost acres of land. Most of its 22 lines also face the threat of flooding. The tea estate incurred a loss of over rupees 25 lakhs as the entire pump house had been washed away. The tea estate was trying to unearth them. Rebuilding the irrigation system would cost us a fortune. The entire Darjeeling was devastated by fresh landslides. More than 20 families were made homeless by the last landslide. They had to makeshift shade. They had to arrange to makeshift shade. একটা জিনিস এখানে লেখার দরকার ছিল, এই যে যখন informed that there had been a landslide, soon we rushed towards to our home. The school bus hurried and dropped us to our uh, destinations. এটার দরকার ছিল। All the villages from Darpin to Vela Cup were virtually sitting on a ticking time bomb. Right? Another fresh shower would have many houses buried under the debris. We spent sleepless nights fearing we might be buried alive. The landslide changed contours of the area. The streams flowed through the damaged road. Meteorologists blamed the devastation on the unplanned growth of the tea gardens and houses along the road. The eel maintained drainage and narrow culverts were obstructing the flow of water, putting pressure on the road surface and causing seepage. এটা টেকটনিক জোন বলে লেখা আছে, জানি না কেন। Landslides caused property damage caused These landslides caused property damage, injury, and death, and adversely affect a variety of resources. Seismic disturbances, ACISMIC, এটা কখনো লেখা যায় যে দার্জিলিং is sometimes affected by seismic disturbances also. Water supplies, fisheries, sewage disposal system, forest, dams, and roadways affected for years after a landslide event. Next, do the ICC 2016. You walk home from school one afternoon to find the door locked, and on entering, you are shocked to see the house in total disarray. You call out, but get no answer. Describe in detail what you saw, the reason behind your house in total disarray, and how you found your family. Mention the experience and what impact you had in your life. Thus, the day started off well enough, and nobody thought that everything would turn topsy turvy. I woke up early in the morning and went to school. After the school was over, I walked home and found that my house was in complete disarray. I started calling my mother, but nobody responded. I went inside and asked my mother what had happened. I was completely at sea when I heard from my mother that a burglary took place that afternoon when me and my father were not present at home. My mother was alone at home. Four burglars pressed the calling bell, and as my mother was engrossed in watching television, she did not even look through the eye hole of the door. Without even pondering or asking anything, she opened the door. My mother is still in a trauma, was still in a trauma. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but she remained completely silent. She was continuously cursing herself for her blunder. Four burglars had stolen a cache of 20,000, one laptop, two iPads, five mobile phones worth rupees 75,000, and ornaments costing rupees 2 lakhs. A complaint was lodged. The burglars had entered a house at 2 p.m. The four accused absconded. The four accused absconded means go away suddenly. Absconded within 20 minutes, carrying the cash and belongings. My mother had rang up my father and my nearest relatives. They had tipped off the policemen. The policemen were asking about the facial features of the robbers, but she failed to give any information as all the burglars wore masks and we don't have and our house is not under CCTV surveillance. So it became difficult for the policemen to identify the burglars. আর একটা জিনিস লেখা যায় কিছু একটা দিয়ে মাকে মেরেছিল মাথায়. The policemen assumed as that they would nab the convicts or proclaimed they would nab the proclaimed criminals. Although they did not hurt my mother, but it was a gunpoint robbery. Oh, likheche. Although they did not hurt my mother, but it was a gunpoint robbery. One of them brandished a gun and demanded all the valuables. Bandished, brandished a gun and demanded all the valuables. The policemen also assured us that they had collected fingerprint from the house and would match them with a list of suspects. They checked the CCTV footage but did not get any valid or definite proof. And that is there in the corridor of our flat. The policemen started inquiring the local people but did not get any valid proof. এটাও পুরো শেষ হয়নি, আর একটু কিছু লিখতে হতো। যাই হোক, ICC 2013 write an original story. In the background I could hear an often commotion, men's voice raised and women screaming. I was at a loss, puzzled or uncertain, মানে I was at a loss to understand what the matter was. I was feeling irritated for my sleep was disturbed and I had hardly slept for an hour or so because I had hardly slept for an hour or so. I tried to put my pillow covering both the ear pillow covering both the ears, but of no avail. The voice was too severe, and by now I was sure that something terrible had happened. I threw my sheet and rushed towards the window and was aghast to find that thick black clouds of smoke were emanating in the sky. The whole scenario was one of chaos, and hundreds of people had come out of their homes with buckets full of water and trying, in their own peculiar ways, to extinguish the fire. Huge flames of fire leapt into the sky, making the scene look topsy turvy and terrifying. Gazing at the sight, I felt bewildered and perplexed. I rushed downstairs with my leg staggering. I caught hold of the railing and descended down. I woke up. I called my parents and sister. They were fast asleep as their room was in the rear. All of us joined the crowd, which was BEASERK. BERACRK, Barsark with BERACRK, Barsark মানে হচ্ছে one that is violent, upset, one that is violent, upset, unrestrained. People were barsack with grief. তো সেই জন্য they woke my parents also woke up, my sister and my parents also woke up. They were fast asleep in their room, as their room was in the rear. All of us joined the crowd, which was barsack with shrieks, SHIERKS, sharks, and clamors, CLAMOURS, clamors. People were running desperately, shouting for water everywhere. I tried to ask somebody what had happened, and the latter raised his finger to the left to indicate what was happening. I was transfixed on seeing the multi storied building caught in blazing fire. A lot of smoke was rushing out of the ninth and tenth floor. Nothing seemed to be clearly visible as the block hideous smoke, BLOCK, block na black, BLACK, black hideous smoke spread its empire everywhere, and the whole building was lost in a pack of miseries. The Nehru building was disastrously caught, had disastrously caught fire without any possibility of rescue and escape. I never had seen such a somber or sordid condition where in a few English Hollywood movies I had encountered such demolishing fire ready to swallow each and everything at sight. Then I noticed many fire tenders rushing to the spot. Fire tender মানে দমকলের গাড়ি. The firefighters came out in a flash and their heavy rubber pipes started throwing water while some of them turned to put up the long stairs to rest on the walls where people could be seen waving their hands for help. The in charge was supervising his team so superbly on the spur of the moment as if he was used to such calamities and tragic despair. কি বলছে the in charge was supervising his team near superbly on the spur of the moment as if he was used to such calamities and tragic despair. He divided his men into four teams and was trying to cover the building on three sides for pumping water, and the people trapped in the building were asked to move on the other side. আচ্ছা, এটা তো রাত্রিবেলা ছিল, এটা মেনশন করতে হবে যে আহ these people were working in night shift. Hmm. At a BPO, and that's why they were working in a night shift. This Nehru building is a building which never sleeps. 24 hours into 365 days, but 24 hours only, except Sundays. People work in this building throughout in all 24 hours. People keep on working in shifting duty. They have shifting duty. It was an open site and it was a good outlet for from where people could be rescued. The building adjoining to this was safe. The supervisor was a genius and his presence of mind saved the people from a doom. Next, ICC 2010, a school carnival fete in a is a great occasion for fun friends. Describe one such event in your school. School carnival means a lot of fun. It gives the much needed break from the academic rigor and gives the students an opportunity to indulge in various activities. It is the time for rejoicing and celebrating. Every kid in school looks forward to this day with utmost enthusiasm and fervor. It is also a great chance to give the children the break from their monotonous routines. School fetes help the schools to collect funds. My school also arranges for fetes and it acts as a big stress buster. This fete helps us forget about the worries and we look forward to them every year. This year, our school organized the carnival in the month of December, which is aptly called Christmas Carnival. A lot of preparations and hard labor went into making this carnival successful. There were 15 game stalls, and the most popular ones were Nine Pins, Ring the Duck, Shot the Basket, Shoot the basket, test of strength. There was a perpetual rush at the chart centers. Our carnival had feet tapping DJ. Our carnival showcased a wide range of kids' products, the extravaganza of grey games, fashion, exciting rides, inspiring competitions, prizes, gifts, and lip smacking foods added color and flavor to the fete. Our fete promoted creativity, positivity, thinking, self esteem, and confidence for the kids. There was a large number of games. The Try Your Luck game attracted a large number of students. We shot we shot shot darts, DARTS, darts. There was a unique photo booth stall which was offering people fun and quirky props to get clicked with. The carnival was a source of pure, unadulterated fun and recreation. Amongst the game stalls, the most popular ones were nine pins, ring the duck, shoot the basket, test of strength. However, the greatest attraction was the golden goal stall, where one had to kick a football into 3 foot ring suspended in air. The stall grossed the highest amongst the game stalls. A large variety of fast food items were served at the various food stalls. The parents and the teachers were sipping the delectable stimulant. The beverages like tea and coffee had great demand. The people also enjoyed many rounds of housey, while many of the senior students interacted with the crowds in the guise of clowns and other cartoon figures and enthralled the children. Our school took great pride in organizing the fete where noted celebrities came and graced the occasion with the glamorous fragrance of their presence. The fete was organized with a music band performing and with performing and with some major brands endorsing our products. The food stalls catered to the need of the students, teachers, and the parents. The main aim of organizing this carnival was using the money for charitable purpose. Our school was decorated with colorful and handmade paper umbrellas, and the designer ones were auctioned during Christmas carnival. The money collected from this fete was donated to the charitable institutions. The main aim was to explore the creative skills of the students and non and, and non students and their hidden talents. Explore the creative skills of the students and their hidden talents. The carnival came to an end late in the evening with the prizes for lucky draw being announced. This year, the carnival was a great success with a record breaking 15,000 people attending the event. The objective of this carnival was to give a chance to the children to explore beyond their curriculum and bring forth their talent potential, bring forth their potential. The schedule of the day was divided into three major events: competitions, fun field games, and entertainment. Students participated in recitation, story narration, drawing, painting competition, solo vocal, tongue twisters, role play, mono acting. Our school had also organized competitions such as radio jockeying, JOCKEYING, news anchoring, jingle making, and origami. The main events were the magic show and shadow art. An interactive session was organized in which the threats to marine ecology from plastic pollution was shown to the students. The students pledged to reduce the use of plastics. The students who had aesthetic sense of color took part in the drawing competition. The great author, my Mikari Patel, illustrator and cartoonist, came to our school on the day of the carnival and felicitated the students who had won our national debate competition named Ignite 2020. Next, ICC 2011 Children's Day is celebrated in your school every year. Write what you particularly liked about this year's celebration. Children's Day, one of the best days of the year for kids, is celebrated on November 14 on the birth anniversary of Jawaharlal Nehru in schools across the country. Jawaharlal Nehru was born on November 14. He was the first Prime Minister of the country. Children's Day is celebrated to commemorate his birthday because of his endless love and affection for the children. Nehru was very fond of the children. He strongly believed that children are the future of the nation, the backbone of the nation. He once said, "The children of today will make the India of tomorrow. The children of today will make the India of tomorrow. The way we bring them up will determine the future of the country." Last year, Children's Day was celebrated in our school. The day was made special for children through the types of programs They chose to do. Teachers made it a point to participate in the Children's Day function to cheer up the kids and make their day memorable. Our school opted for Fancy Days competition, where children were free to choose any public personality of their choice and dress up like him or her. Chocolates and other food items were distributed to the children during lunch hours. Classrooms were decorated with frills, colored paper, good pictures to make the rooms look attractive. Nowadays, with a change in culture, children are more into cartoons and animated movie. We are digitally sound, and thus our school took the children to the smart room and showed a movie named Baby's Day Out. From popping balloons to wearing a Batman cape, CAP, or playing treasure hunt, everything was arranged to enthrall the children. So many fun filled games were there: passing the ball, hair braiding. There was a counter where children wore a Superman cape or a Spider Man mask. The girls had magic wands, tiaras, and crowns. The game that encouraged adventure and fantasy and catered to the kids' curious nature was Treasure Hunt. A costume party catered to the kids' curious nature was the Treasure Hunt. A costume party was arranged. Go karting, karting was arranged. Pinata. The game involved beating up a hanging pinata. Complete the Beetle game. A PowerPoint presentation on the life of Pandit Nehru was shown to the kids. A live puppet show was arranged and professional puppet artist was brought to entertain the kids. Balloons were inflated and kids popped the balloons with toothpick. A sandwich corner was there where pizza, desserts, cake, and juice were available. On the Children's Day, we pledged to improve the condition of children in our country. We oathed that we would extend our help to the underprivileged children, so that extend our help to the underprivileged children, so that they don't so that they do not die of malnutrition, poor health, and we would all of us would join our hands to eradicate child labor. The game that encouraged adventure, না দরকার নেই, এটা তো হয়ে গেছে. Write an original story in which two children, their grandfather, are the main characters. ICC 2019. Tom, a small, weary boy of 12, with brown hair gleamed in the sun. With brown hair gleamed in the sun, his green eyes twinkled. His sister, named Mary, had thick golden hair, always tied in plaits, and she had deep blue eyes. Their parents unfortunately passed away in a shipwreck. The children were naughty, and their father had died in a war, and their mother died in the disease of consumption. Their parents unfortunately passed. একজন লিখেছে আমি লিখেছি the parents unfortunately passed away in a shipwreck. The children were naughty and were burnt as brown as monkeys as they basked themselves in the sun while fishing. They stayed near the sea and they were good swimmers. Their main uh, কি বলে, their they used to earn their living by fishing. They used to earn their living by fishing. They were very unruly at times, pushed, shoved, and pinched each other. Pushed, shoved, shoved, and pinched each other. Mary sometimes whined and screamed, whined and screamed, while Tom melted her crayons on the radiator. When Tom melted her crayons on the radiator, Tom often squabbled her. When Mary built sandcastles, he knocked them down. They were very unruly at times, pushed each other, shoved, pushed, shoved, pinched each other. Mary sometimes whined and screamed when Tom melted her crayons on the radiator. Tom often squabbled her. When Mary built sandcastles, he knocked them down. They stayed with their grandfather in a small house near the beach. There were two bedrooms, a balcony, and a kitchen. The little balcony room looked clean, although they were poor. The gas fire burned steadily at the kitchen. The clock on the mantelpiece ticked merrily. There was a couch on one bedroom, a table was there, and they sat with a small white cloth. A table was set with a small white cloth. Their grandfather had freckles in his face. Their grandfather, Septuagenarian, had freckles on his face. Their grandfather, a Septuagenarian, had freckles in his face. He had ruddy face, twinkling eyes, rather bald head with plenty of hair at each side. Had a trembling voice. He dusted every day, watered every plant, cleaned his every bit of the furnitures, trimmed the hedges of his garden. They helped their grandfather in peeling vegetables, in household chores, or in fishing. Sometimes they were very naughty, and their grandfather scowled at them. Scowled. They winged, grumbled, and moaned. They had meager income, could not afford to buy a comfy bed or a television. Lots of mosquitoes whined in their room. They had a friend named Andy, a fisher boy who had left school to help his father with his fishing. They knew how to catch fish, how to row, or how to mend a net. They grinned at each other. They loved to see the queen bird's nest, the cove with yellow stones. Cove with yellow stones. They often had pirate parties made pirate flags, played with swords made of the plank of wood, treasure chest, skull and crossbone plates and eye patches or coulashes. Cullasses. They played the gigantic pirate battle. Jack played the role of peg legged pirate who loved swirling his cutlass and leapt. He sang pirate songs. Grandfather also joined in their pirate party. He howled spookily over pirate skull, scarf, the eye patch, the huge black skull, and crossbones, the hat. Mary's bloody cutlass gleamed. Mary squealed, grabbing the scroll dangling from the banister. They searched for pirate treasure, waved the skull and crossbones flag. They were habituated to the cool breeze, gale, storm, or howling wind. They knew when there would be a high tide, low tide, or ebb. Every day at dawn, they hauled their boat to the bank of the sea and went for fishing. They carried hooks, sinkers, bobbers, worms, nets, fishing lines, and fishing reels. The only food they had every day was rice, fish, or crab. Sometimes they hunted for sandworms, baited their hooks, lowered their line into the water. Once they caught a fish, they baited their line again. In winter, they collected bracken, heather, and faggots to make fire and keep themselves warm. They had also have enough clothes. They did not have enough clothes or rags to keep themselves warm in winter. Sometimes the little white-edged waves came and made them wet. White-aged, Whiteedged. Their life was a parable of man's struggle against the ruthless nature, poverty, and endurance. Their constant companion was their grandfather. Tom and Mary looked after their grandfather with filial devotion, and their grandfather also developed a fatherly attachment towards them. The comradeship between Tom, Mary, and the old man was not merely a train era apprentice relationship. It was a comradeship of youth and old age, physical strength and moral courage. Their eternal struggle for existence and triumph against all odds was praiseworthy. That is why their grandfather never scolded them or sneered them. The children cried for their parents' untimely demise. They loved their grandfather, who was their unfailing comrade. Actually, their presence was like rejuvenation for the old man. Whenever they caught shrimps, prawn, or pomfrets, they never ate. Rather, they sold those fish in the market and brought medicine for their grandfather. The old man and the two children never surrendered in front of the ruthless destiny. Despite all odds and poverty, they remained triumphantly cheerful. Their parents had left them and went away. However, the element of death is juxtaposed in their lives with a bubbling desire to live. The element of death is juxtaposed in their lives with a bubbling desire to live. Next, she was the cynosure of Mr. Nayar's eyes. It was not going to be easy, but somehow she had to confront him. She took a deep breath and walked into the room. Her father was sitting on the revolving chair. The room was dark. He was sitting in a reclined position with his eyes closed. Her father was full of anguish, despair, and he could not yet overcome the trauma of his wife's death. The Nayar family was indeed a happy family. The girl named Nisha had just finished her secondary examination when one afternoon her mother passed away due to a road accident. The house, which used to be the abode of happiness, suddenly turned into a somber place. Wailing and moanings resonated. The woman with nerve of steel had promised to take up every responsibility, left her husband and children stranded midway in the chariot of life. She went out for shopping one afternoon and suddenly a taxi knocked her while she was crossing the road. She succumbed to her injuries on the spot. Her gruesome death sent shivers down Mr. Nayar's spine. Her children were upset, but not up to the extent that their father was. Destiny had its own way of sending people to grave, and her untimely demise created a vacuum in the family. VACUUM, vacuum in the family. Even the tulips and the wallflowers in the garden seemed to shed tears. She was a master in culinary arts, a lady with dauntless courage. She stood by Mr. Nayar through thick and thin. The news of her death was like a bolt from the blue for the Nayar family. It had been 3 days since she had passed away, and Mr. Naya refused to eat anything. Nisha gave him a glass of lemonade, which he was which was the only thing he had in the last 3 days. Mr. Nayar only sat with an album throughout the day and turned over the pages. Old memories revived, and he was at sea. He experienced dry mouth, loss of appetite, insomnia. Nature gave us tears to ease the stress of life, but Mr. Nayar could not cry to relieve his stress. Nisha and her brother were also numb, and they were also overwhelmed in the grief, but their father behaved in a queer manner. The bereaved man experienced depression, and life seemed to have no meaning at all. The family had a mixed feeling like shock, regret, anger, anxiety, depression, helplessness. It seemed as if the world crashed around them. Mr. Nayar, the mourner, blamed himself to validate that the accident could have been prevented. He experienced heavy and repeated sighing. Nisha gave food, water, and medicine to her father, but he refused to take those. Nisha and her brother Ravi tried to convince him that telling that death is inevitable. The deceased could no more come back to life. If their father refused food, drink, and medicine, they would also have no one to look after. Listening to this reality, his father cried hard and then had a little bit of food. The moon bobbed out from the scurrying cloud. The scuffle ended. SCURRYING. The moon bobbed out, BOBBED, bobbed out from the scurrying cloud. The scuffle ended. All of them breathed a sigh of relief. The graveyard was cold, dark, and dreary, but once a deceased sleeps in it, he or she never comes back. Next, lost and found. Timmy was a mongrel dog of undetermined origin. He could be terribly fierce at times and was able to sniff out a rogue at 50 paces. Sniff out a rogue at 50 paces. Grown men and women turned to jelly at the sight of growling Timmy. Grown men and women turned to jelly at the sight of growling Timmy. He was the pet who understood everything Jack did or say. He was loyal and extremely protective. Jimmy had a lot of factors that catacombs CATACOMBS দেখতে হবে মানে কি Jimmy had a lot of factors that made him the best dog in the world. Was the best canine creation. Timmy belonged to Jack, and after having lost his pet at the market, he exclaimed, "The lives of our pets become so interwoven with our own. It would take more than an archangel to detangle them." Timmy's bark reverberated in his ears. Jack got Timmy from a local pet store. He was an enticing puppy, enticing puppy when Jack bought him. His dark brown eyes gazed over almost like tears. His color was like grainy sand. A little spot and little spots were on his body. It seemed as if God had pe- pe- peppered him just on his feet before he sent him to the earth. Peppered him just on his feet before he sent him to the earth. The day Tom bought Timmy from the pet store, he had signed on a pact that day, a pact of friendship, loyalty, and love that could not be matched with anyone else. Timmy ran on his legs and pounced around in the yard as if he was a gazelle roaming in plains of Africa. Gazelle roaming in the plains of Africa. Tears rolled down his eyes. Tom ran from pillar to post, gave advertisements in the newspaper, but it didn't help. "I know that somebody had stolen him away," he said. After Tom came back from the police station. Came back to his senses, standing at the yard. This day is so different from other days. His hair was disheveled. He remembered how Jimmy accompanied him in everything. The dog listened to the rustling leaves, the crackling of pine trees, as if they were all stretching in the unison, enjoying the same things. Tom could not enjoy the smell of freshly ki, belled neigh of the sound of baby calves across the streets. His thought was lingering in his mind. He was sensitive to his incognito feeling. "I walked through the dampened dew grass but could not get the pleasure." Now he walked through the dampened dew grass but could not get the pleasure. He remembered how his toenails clipped on the pavement. Suddenly, a trauma overcame him. He was suspended between life and death. He seemed to hear nothing. He cursed himself for being so careless. Tom grew outrageous. He placed an advertisement in the newspaper about his lost dog. One fine morning, after a lapse of a fortnight, Mr. Nair called up in a phone number that was provided in the advertisement. Tom was on cloud nine. He jumped out of his bed and went to collect his dearest pet from Mr. Nair. When he looked at Timmy's walnut eyes, tears rolled down his cheeks. He thanked the Providence for getting his pet back. However, he thanked Mr. Nair all the more because he helped him get back his pet. Mr. Nair had been warm and caring towards the dumb creature. While on a picnic, you and your friends decide to go sailing. Unfortunately, your boat capsized on a violent storm. However, all of you managed to swim safely. Give a vivid account of the incident. ICC 2003. During the last summer vacation, my friends and I decided to go for a picnic beside Lake Chulka in Satapada, Orissa. Lake Chilka is the largest brackish water lake. It is a serene picnic spot, and we got the opportunity to witness the confluence of Chilka Lake and the Bay of Bengal. We choose this place as we enjoy boating and cruise. The Satapada region is famous for the Satapada Dolphin Sanctuary. We could enjoy the sight of dolphins swimming close to our boat. We had our meals sitting under the cool and peaceful shade of tall casuarina trees. Casuarina trees. Andy, Rohit, Ria, Rishabh decided to go sailing in the lake. I was having butterflies in my stomach because I am not good at rowing a boat. However, the rest of my friends had lots of enthusiasm, so I had to join them. We sat on the boat. Andy put up the sail. I billowed out in the breeze, and the boat sped along. We started rowing our oars. The sail flapped. It was billowing like the wings of a bird. We felt the cool breeze, but all of a sudden we smelled something queer. A humming noise was in the air. An enormous purple cloud covered the whole sky, and it completely covered the sun. A great crash of thunder came from the black cloud, and a flash of lightning split the sky in half. The wind howled, wailed, and seemed to lash everything. The waves were enormous, and we could reckon our danger. There was a tremendous thudding and clashing. The storm grew worse, and all of us cowered in fear. COWERED, cowered মানে to lower your body in fear, নিচু করে দেওয়া শরীরটাকে. The thunder was loud enough, and it seemed as if terrific guns were bombarding the enemies. The incessant rain, the rumbling crashes of thunder frightened us. Suddenly the sail ripped itself off the mast, flapped wildly for a second, and then wriggled madly in the wind. WRIGGLE, they wriggled madly in the wind. Our boat tossed in the river because there was tumult in the water. The thudding rain, the roaring thunder petrified us. Lightning flickered, and our boat was upside down. Everything turned topsy turvy. I'm not a good swimmer, and so I felt very nervous. The stinging rain fell every now and then. The wind lashed us, the water whipped us. We yelled madly, but frantically managed to swim towards the shore. The Almighty saved us. The storm was like a boa constrictor that was about to devour us completely. However, we thanked the Providence for our narrow escape. All of us longed for a peaceful nap. Next, there has been a heavy rain in your city or town. You went to school but found that it was closed. Describe the sights and sounds near the school and narrate how you finally reached home and spent the rest of the day and what you saw and heard. The flashes of lightning below beneath my eyelids woke me up from the trance. The flashes of lightning beneath my eyelids woke me up from the trance. Due to the incessant rain in the city, the roads were waterlogged. However, an internal assessment was about to be conducted on that day, and I reluctantly went to school. To add to my dismay, I found that my school was closed. There were cracks, potholes, depressions, ruts, ruts on the road. I was completely drenched in the rain. I stumbled a little as the road pavement deteriorated. The stray dogs and the birds were the worst sufferers. The potholes with yawning gaps could be responsible for minor accidents. The auto rickshaws got stuck in the white potholes. Even in some places, the roads were dug for laying pipeline and cables. The trees were howling like drunken giants. The rain water came to the earth as if champagne came down from heaven. Most of the people were exhibiting a strong dislike for the rain. People carried umbrella or raincoats and gumboots. The commuters were changed, charged very high rates as they were the commuters were charged very high rates as they were exhibiting a strong dislike. Charged very high rates as they were in a hurry to reach their office. A ragamuffin girl was loitering here and there in search of a shelter. Each boom of thunder was loud enough to rattle the window panes. The car drivers were cautiously driving as a little mistake on the wet road could result in hydroplaning. Hydroplaning means a situation in which a vehicle hides out of control on a wet road. Hydroplaning. Hydroplaning. Perspiration not only resulted in slippery Precipitation not only resulted in slippery road but it made difficult for the drivers to see the foggy environment. My hair was disabled. The mercury dropped considerably. I felt like sipping the delectable stimulant. The black clouds lumbered through the sky. I heard the sound of crickets. The drops of rain tickled my shoulder. I smelt the water soaked earth and feasted my eyes on the lush green vegetation. I waded through the water. A few children were sailing paper boats and splashed water from the dirty puddles. The rain was falling unrelentingly. The axiom মানে excess of everything is bad. axiom এটা দেখতে হবে axiom না axion মানে একটা কথা আছে যে axion axiom excess of everything is bad proved to be true. A gale began to blow. Gale. Thick bellied clouds covered the sky. The people were panic stricken. The tautophony of rain seemed to babble words it like a baby does. Okay? The tautophony of rain seemed to babble words just like a baby does. Acha. Tautophony, Tautyphony. Tautophony of rain seemed to babble words just like a baby does. Just like the lisping of a baby. Just like the lisping of a baby. In the it was drizzling in the morning, early hours of dawn. It was drizzling. However, by the time it was morning, downpour started astonishingly. The rainfall made a sharp rat-a-tat on window. It was raining cats and dogs. A sharp rat-a-tat on the window. The rainfall made a sharp rat-a-tat on the window. It was raining cats and dogs. To the morning assembly নিয়ে each morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters the most. It is a common practice at our school to begin the day's work with a morning assembly. After all, well begun is half done. The morning assembly is a peaceful means to begin the day in a euphoric and ecstatic manner. It lends a celestial aroma to the atmosphere where we, the children, were with folded hands and closed eyes, pray to the Almighty in sonorous voice. It helps to inculcate moral and ethical values in our mind. The powerful rendition of the patriotic songs and national anthems fill our heart with patriotism and nationalism. In the morning assembly, a part of time is devoted to talk on general knowledge, current affairs, or on our achievements. Announcements regarding tournaments, functions, and changes in timetable, holidays are made during this time. The morning assembly fosters great solidarity. We have assemblies on special days like Independence Day, Republic Day, Earth Day, World Environment Day, and Martyrs Day. It was a normal morning for everyone except me. It was the first time I was a bit scared to go to the school. I was supposed to conduct the morning assembly and I was supposed to deliver a speech on the martyrs on 30th January. Martyrs' Day is celebrated to pay reverent homage to the patriots who fought for their motherland. Martyrs' Day is celebrated on 30th January because on this day, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was assassinated. In fond remembrance of his sacrifice and devotion, a special assembly was organized. At the beginning, I conducted the prayer and sang the school song and the national anthem. Then I delivered a short speech addressing our respected principal ma'am, our headmaster sir, other dignitaries, my teachers, and my dear friends. After delivering the speech, I sang a patriotic song along with the school choir. The assembly proceeded with GK questions on Gandhiji and other martyrs. Then I read the news of the day and the thought of the day. The morning assembly on this particular day was conducted to pay a gracious tribute to the martyrs. All of us prayed to the Almighty to spread brotherhood and restore peace among the nation. Martyrs' Day is a day to salute the martyrdom of the soldiers who lost their lives defending the sovereignty of the nation. Every day we sing devotional songs, patriotic songs, flag songs, so that the morning assembly never becomes a monotony. At the end of the assembly, our principal madam delivered an impromptu speech on our father of the nation. Then all of us moved to our respective classrooms. The assembly was conducted to kindle the spirit of pride and gallantry among us. I showed a PowerPoint presentation on the trials and tribulations of Mahatma Gandhi. The assembly conducted with the soul stirring and motivational song Hey Ram. I was motivated with a good round of applause. ICC 2015, you had booked a ticket on an early morning train. However, you woke up late and missed it. You then decided to run to catch a bus. Narrate the entire event, how you melt the effort you made. Finally, you caught the train. It was already 6 a.m. in the morning. The crimson red sun had popped up from the eastern horizon. The cool breeze was alluring. However, I had to rush because I was scheduled to leave for Varanasi, the hottest city of India. I want the holiest city of India. I wanted to catch the 7:15 a.m. Purva Express from Howrah station en route to Mughal Sarai, from where I planned to take a cab to Varanasi. Booked a cab, headed towards the station. I booked a cab and headed towards the station, urging the driver to accelerate all the way. As soon as I reached the platform, I could see the tail end of the last wagon. Alas, the train had left the station. Hierophant had informed me, Hierophant had informed me that a particular day was very auspicious and going by his instruction, and I was going by his instruction. I wanted to visit the Vishwanath temple the following morning. On seeing the train leaving the station, I became numb with indecision. It was like a bolt from the blue. I cursed myself for not being able to wake up a little earlier. The very next moment, I reasoned that I should have been fast enough to finish my morning course. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I started getting butterflies in my stomach. An octogenarian came to comfort me and advised me to board a bus from Santragachi and reach the next station as early as possible. Within a wink of an eye, I boarded a bus and headed towards the Bauria station. I was praying to the Almighty and asked for His providence. I was barely able to catch my breath. The Providence thankfully supported me with His grace. The train was half an hour late, and when I reached the Baudia station, I was standing before my eyes. I, with great relief, wiped the drops of perspiration from my forehead. I got a lesson from a lifetime. One should be punctual in respect in life. I promised myself that I would never repeat such kind of lackadaisical, lackadaisical, lackadaisical crutches even ever in my life. Practice, P-R-A-C-H-E-E-S.